Hi, this is Shui with a review of an Under Armour shoe. The original Spawn Anatomics, or was it Anatomics Spawn? They were made for Stephen Curry, and everybody loved the shoe, and everybody bought the shoe. Under Armour even made a point version 2.0 type of version of the Spawn Anatomics, um, and then they released a shoe just called Spawn Anatomics Low when they already had a Spawn Anatomics Low. So in short, they call it Spawn Low, and this is the Spawn Low 2. And they still have the word anatomics written all over it to provide us with greater confusion. It uses a full-length micro G cushioning, and it is pretty soft. If you try the Spawn Low, the first Spawn Lows, you will understand that it is the softest uh, Under Armour basketball shoe out there during that season. And for this season, I think this is almost, if not as good as the Curry Sevens in terms of the shock absorption and cushioning, although it's just micro G instead of using hover and micro G. As for Curry's, it's very low to the ground and minimal and sort of closer to the hard side than the soft side. This is a lot softer in that sense. Again, it's a little bit more rigid and firm than the Spawn Low. This is a Spawn Low 2. They made a little bit of an adjustment and evolution on this little unique anti-inversion lockdown mechanism, kind of TPU type of material that helps you lock things down to place. The ones actually started a little bit lower, so I don't know if this is good or bad, but I guess some would prefer that setting, some would prefer this. The heel cup, other than the heel cup itself, you do have this little clutching material, the same material as the outsole that's been used. It's very similar to the Hyperdunk React, the first React Hyperdunk, I think it was 2016. It feels very similar. If you remember this cushioning, a lot of players and a lot of average Joes preferred this because it's not soft, it's not hard, but it had a sort of a cushioning that doesn't sink you in, but it provides, it prevents blisters from forming, it prevents you from feeling fatigued and decent amount of energy return. But the thing about the Hyperdunk with React was there was minimal React and the midsole was pretty hard. And the cushioning came from maybe 1/3 of the midsole was the insole with a very thick ortholite insole, or maybe 2/5. It was pretty much a dominant force that's contributing to the cushioning. The difference here is that for the Spawn Low 2, it uses a very thin, minimal. It's not even orsolite. It's Under Armour's unique type of material. It feels like a cross between polyurethane and EVA. But I love the insoles that Under Armour comes up with. It's very minimal, and yet, even if you remove the insole, it feels just as soft as Hyperdunk React with the thick insole attached. So that's the type of cushion you can expect. And it's got a decent heel to toe drop, so that's always a good thing. The fit, I would suggest if you have an average foot like me, you can go true to size, maybe even go down half a size. If you have really narrow feet, I would definitely say you probably want to go down half a size. It feels a little bit long more so than narrow. The width is decent, but you actually feel additional material around the insole when you put the insole into the shoe, so it's a little bit of a roomy experience there around the toes. So that's something you should consider when you're lacing them up and trying them on at stores. Um, yeah, it's overall it's a one-piece upper, but the tongue is a little bit separated, so there's ease of access, easy access in terms of entry and exit of your foot. The padding around the ankle is very adequate. The heel cup is there with this little clutch fit system made of the outsole. Um, and for a size 9, it weighs about 360 grams, so that's closer to the lighter side. If you look at the outsole pattern, it also kind of reminds you of the crop circle type of pattern that you've had in the Hyperdunk React. The Superfly model that came during this season, was it 2016, I believe, had a very similar pattern like this one on the Spawn Low 2s. It feels like a map on a map when you have the contours of a mountain or any type of structure that is tall. So it feels like that. And on the heel, they really stuck it to what works, which is closer to a wavy blade traction to make sure you have a good grip. But this works a little bit better than the contour. Crop circle better than the contours. It doesn't eat up a lot of dust, but it can be a little sensitive to certain dusty areas, or if it accumulates a lot of dust. So that's something you should consider. And the material, the translucent outsole or the ice blue outsole, sometimes depending on what kind of substances, chemicals, or combination they use, sometimes it's sticky and it works, sometimes it's not as sticky. Sometimes it's less durable, sometimes it is. So you probably need to hear from other people who try other colorways and other type of rubber combination they use for the outsole to see what works best. It's decent. It's way better than the copy-paste type of lazy herringbone pattern that a lot of Adidas shoes had recently, which didn't work. So it works better than that, but it's slightly less grippy. It doesn't have that much of an intensive bite as that of the crop circle pattern. But hey, it's pretty good. What else can I say about this shoe? It's decent, and it's not going to drill a hole in your wallet. The retail price is decent. I think it's like slightly over $100 or over under. You don't need to wait for a discount when the retail price is that low. So good job, Under Armour. I think this is, in terms of cushioning, better than the Curry 7. The outsole grip is really good, but of course the Curry 7s do have a slightly bit of an edge because it does outsoles with a different blade lengths and different patterns to provide added durability and added bite to the to when you're actually trying to do your moves on the court. Yeah, Spawn Load 2. I hope Under Armour keeps working in this direction to improve their micro G cushioning. And yeah, the design, I love the design. I love the design, and I love how the lace loops are actually anatomically designed to provide a better grip on your foot. It doesn't have a crazy wide base, so it's not exactly the most stable shoe, but it's definitely more stable than some of those LeBron shoes that you have out there with those crazy high thick midsole with minimal outrigger that you're going to be twisting and turning all over the place. It does have a little bit more of a rubber and a midsole compound here on the sides, so there is a decent level of stability or anti-inversion lockdown that you get from it.